is going on, you guys? My name is Matt, and I bet you're wondering, hey Matt, why you dress so nice? Well, I went out to a lovely dinner date with my wife, and we did a little bit of Christmas shopping. And I know what you're thinking. Matt, how did you get a wife even though you love Pokemon cards and you are such a dork? Well, the key is to not let her know of your weird hobbies until after it is too late. Now let's get right into this week's episode. Merry Christmas. Boy, what a hell of an intro. Alright, kicking things off, we have a PGC Gem Mint 10 base set Charizard, and this is called the Sunset Error. One I believe I have seen before, didn't recall the name of it, and there's a lot to unpack here. So the error is, if you look above me, you can see on the left side of the hollow box, there is some bright colors, brighter than the rest of the hollow. I don't know if this is, would this be additional ink error or a missing ink error that kind of causes things to be brighter? I don't know, but you can see the description I have is actually in the description from the seller. They say this error version sells for a considerably higher price than the normal version. So that might be true, but when you throw PGC into the mix, it's not going to sell for more. You see this sold for $1,144. Average non-error price, I picked the lowest of the 10s, and that was CGC 10 average for a non-error card is $3,100. If you're going PSA 10, you're at $9,000. You know, these might be a little bit skewed pricing, but gives you a general idea. PGC is not even selling more than a grade 9. So whoever bought this card, get it graded with a different company. Maybe CGC will recognize this error. That would be awesome. If you can get CGC 10 of this, you would have a lot of money on your hands. Put it down in the comments if you bought this card. If you're the one person in the world that bought this exact card, that'd be cool. So yeah, PGC kind of ruined it. A very cool error though. Like, let's just acknowledge the fact that this is a perfect card and has a very cool rare error, one that is not talked about too much. But yes, this error value increase, not happening. It's an error value decrease of 64%. Next up, we have a card or cards set that usually doesn't get too much love when it comes to miscuts. Here we have a Topps Pokemon card, and this is in episode 22, the Tower of Terror. So Topps covered a lot of the different episodes for Pokemon in the original series, and I always think they're very cool, and I always think the miscuts are just awesome, just because they are so night and day different between the cards, so you can really tell where the old card started and where the new card is. And they usually don't get much love, but due to the fact that this is Gengar, apparently people love Gengar. It's kind of like one of the top Pokemon. I think it has its own cult following, and so that probably helped this sell for more than a different miscut that you might see. You can see this sold for $125. Now, average non-error price is $7.33, so with an EVI of 1600%, that's not in the top 10. That's actually not even close, so we have a strong week this week. Cool card, though. I thought I showed the back of it. Maybe I didn't. My bad. It was pretty cool, though. Take my word for it. Alright, next up we have a first edition Ivy Pikachu. So this is the promo card. Error is the first edition stamp should not be there. But I found out recently, someone commented, thank you if you commented that, but also just on Bulbapedia where I find the information for these errors, it says that for a while they thought this was an error, the first edition stamp was not supposed to be there, but then there was basically evidence found in a Japanese magazine that suggested that this was actually an intentional secret rare. So either way, whether it's an error or not, it's a cool, valuable chase card, and in my mind, I will still consider it an error, especially for how much it freaking sells for. This PSA 8 non-holo Pokemon card sold for $512 in auction. Yeah, that's very impressive if you don't know. Auction doesn't sell for that much. I have a personal story to talk about that later. But yes, very cool card. Average non-error price, $18.50. For a grade 8. So that gives us a 2,668% error value increase. And that's not top 10 either. It's very close, but it's not. You can see average error price. I did not check the last time this was actually updated, but 789. So maybe if the seller would have held out, I think maybe they could get closer to 700, but who knows how long you'd have to wait to get that. So I'd say be very happy with a sale price of $512 for this. Next up, here's a cool one. Here we have an Eldegoss from Fusion Strike, and this is a severe holy crap miscut. That's the technical term for it. You can see graded by CGC, so they will recognize that miscut. Got graded a CGC 9, and this has, I believe, 7 alignment dots. We got 4 or 3 clear ones and 1 pretty, like, barely visible one on the front, and I can see 2 clear ones and a barely visible one on the back. So this is incredible. Alignment dots, you know, if you get 1 in a card, that's really cool. But if you have 7, that's a lot. And you can see this one actually sold from a consignment shop as well. Sold for $127.50. Average non-error price. So I found a Gem Mint 10 that sold for $5. It wasn't, I don't believe it was a big grading company, but so I estimated a 9 would be $4. And so with that, we have an error value increase of 3,088%. Now that is good enough for number 7 this week. I feel like my hands are sweaty. That was a weak snap. There we go. Yeah, very cool card. Congrats to the seller. Congrats to the buyer. I love miscuts like this. They're very, very cool. It looks like there was just enough more of Eldegoss than whatever that other Pokemon was, so they chose that to be the name of the card on the slab. Next up, we have a base set Wartortle with the Evolution Box error. This error occurs in the Evolution Box. Big surprise, and it's a mini Wartortle in there, and not a mini Squirtle. A very cool repeating error, one that's very well known, and usually goes for more than this. I think the seller didn't get as much as they could have, but again, I'll talk about it in a bit, but I need to be more sympathetic for these sellers, but also I don't need to be. I don't know. We'll see. It may just depend on the week. But so this was listed for $95, sold for $60, and yeah, I think with a card with this good of shape, you know, this might be what would be a PSA 7, PSA 6 even. I think it could have gone for a little bit more, but maybe that's just, you know, nickel and diming the situation. So $60 might be fair for it. Maybe it was a quick sell, and the EVI for this was around 2,000%. Next up, we have a Mewtwo V from Pokemon Go, and this is the Big Brain card. Not really, but this is a miscut with a thick top. So it's got a big head, so it's very smart. Very funny joke, Matt. So this got graded a PSA 7 miscut, and yeah, not much more to say about it. You know, I am a fan of these cards where... Oh, wait, actually, this is a misalignment, not a miscut. My bad. I was just looking at the back of the card there above, and you can see back of the card perfectly centered, and the front of the card is misaligned, and so that's how you classify it as a misalignment. Grade 7 for this goes for around $6, so we got about a 2,000% EVI, but that's not in the top 10. Alright, next up we have a big dog. Here we have a first edition Dark Dragonite from Team Rocket set, and this is the non-holo error. The set number in the bottom right of the card says 582. That is supposed to be on the holo card. It happens, you know, this is a repeating error, so it happens on several other cards, but the fact that this is a first edition card with this error just skyrockets the price. $1,500 for a Pokemon card, a grade 8 non-holo Pokemon card. Damn. Average non-error price is $49 for a grade 8, so that gives us a 2,966% EVI, and that's good enough for number 8 this week. Price charting has the error pricing for first edition non-holo errors for the Dark Dragonite. Look at grade 9, $3,000. Grade 8, $130. I think there might be something wrong with their system. Otherwise, someone got the steal of the century. Holy cow. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I thought that was just funny, so I wanted to share it. Alright, next up we have another Evolution Box War Turtle. This got graded a PSA 8, sold for $225. You see average non-error price for this grade 8 would be $25, and so 800% EVI, and price charting does not have a error price for this. I put one, I said 225 because it sold for 225, and this is maybe the, well no, there have been others, but price charting takes a really long time to update this error, so we're saying this sold for exactly the market price because this was the only market price there is. Next up we have a Shaman, and this has a misaligned back. You see front of the card above me, perfectly centered, perfectly normal card. Back of the card shifted down a decent bit. We have a white alignment dot there. It's always awesome where you can have just a little bit of alignment dot, but the rest of the cards just shifted. And we have, what would that be? 7-8% of another card on the top. I don't know what that exactly is, but sold for $100. That's not bad at all. Average non-error price is usually $2.25, so that's a big increase, a big error value increase. 4,344%. That's good enough for number 4 this week. Next up we have a Haunter from Fossil Set. This is a hollow card, and this is the blue ink smear error. Blue ink stain error. Look above me, you can see it a lot better. Sometimes this is one that can be kind of hard to tell. If you are ever error hunting, which essentially means you're trying to find an error card on eBay, but you hope the seller doesn't know it's an error card so you get it for a good deal. I have never come across this one, but a lot of times you just see people take a front and back of the card. So if you didn't see that little ink stain on the right of the hollow box there, this would be very, very hard to tell. Maybe you could like screenshot it and then adjust the brightness and like the shadows maybe, and then maybe you could see it. But this one will be hard to tell. But if you are ever, hunting or whatever, and you just see it head on, look for that blue ink on the right side of the hollow box. And this one sold for $157. Not bad at all. 1000% EVI for a vintage hollow is very solid. Cue that music. We'll let it roll the whole time. So next up we have a base set Alakazam with that fat bottom miscut. Kind of the same as the last one in the fact that it got shifted either up or down. This one got shifted up, and we have just a little bit of alignment out there, so that's very cool. You can see card not in good shape. I think the official term is beat to hell. We got some scratches here on the hollow and whitening all around the card, so this was definitely in some kid's pocket for many years. Maybe got washed once or twice. And yeah, very, very cool card. Wait, was this the actual sale price? I didn't look. Maybe this is actually sold for $170 or $169.69. Nice. I might have messed that up. Either way, not gonna be in the top 10, but yeah, very cool card. We love vintage miscuts here, and we love those fat bottom miscuts. Neat. Yeah. Next up, we have a base set Charizard with a black dot error. This is where there's a black dot over the second N in Nintendo on the bottom of the card, and the hollow foil is shifted up a little bit, so you see a little bit of a hollow shift. This one I wanted to talk about though. Look at the error card, kind of right where the fire is coming off Charizard's mouth. It looks like there's like a line in the hollow a little bit. Could that be something with the hollow foil where it was like a new sheet, or I don't believe it's missing there, but I just thought it's something worth checking. Also, you can see the seller. I don't believe this is an inverted back, but I think when they posted the photo, they took the photo upside down, so the Pokeball's upside down. Maybe someone got the craziest error ever and they got a black dot Charizard with the inverted back for $500. I don't think so though. I think it's probably just an error. Looks like this seller has one review, so not too much experience posting. But yeah, very cool card, and EVI is about right where it should be, I'd say, for a black dot Charizard, around 91%. I'd say 50 to like 150 would be the max for this. Next up, we have a Panseer from Surging Sparks, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't know what this error is. couple thoughts. So it looks like the same seller sold all of these cards. Just look above me here. There's 5 different listings. They all sold for $50. I don't believe this would this be an obstruction, or because this isn't additional ink, and also I just hope this isn't some sort of tape error. I know Infernos Games showed a video recently where tape could be used to remove some of the hollow, I think on an old Japanese cards.
A little spoiler here, we got a Panseer. It's a super strange looking ink error Panseer. I believe something obstructed either the white printing plate or just the white layer during the printing process, leaving this kind of cool looking error. Thanks for stopping by. Tune in next time for some more Pokemon content.
But I don't know if that is the case here. So if you know more about this error, please let me know, because it was prevalent in 5 different ones. It would make sense it's from the same seller as long as they're not scummy. It could be some sort of a repeating error or something that happened on the same sheet. Hard to say, but it sold for a lot more than the non-error counterpart. This sold for $50. Average non-error price is $1.15. So the EVI is 4,247%, and that's good enough for number 6 this week. I didn't bother doing the rest of them. I thought that'd be a little bit repetitive, and that was kind of just take over the whole top 10. So just did this one, thought I'd mention the other ones. And yes, if you have any more information about this, please let me know. All right, here's a cool one. So here is a Japanese Raikou EX. This is an alt art, or an art secret rare, my bad. And this looks like it's a missing print layer. Now sometimes I get this wrong. I don't believe this would be sun faded. I don't know what it would, like, you see it basically affects the whole card. So there's something that kind of adds, that makes the card pop, and that is missing. I really hope this isn't just a sun faded error. I don't think it is. Whatever it is, yeah, I believe it's a missing print layer error, and sold for $100. Average non-error price sells for a decent bit though, 42. So EVI is nothing crazy, but I thought this is an interesting card, and maybe it would spark a discussion in the comments. It won't. I know the hit rate for having someone actually comment when I request it is probably like 1%, if that. That's all right though. Hope you guys are enjoying. Okay, I think this would be a good time for me to talk about my card real quick, because I'm going to be a little bit critical here. So I found a red diamond Squirtle shadowless card. It was a PSA 8, and it sold to me for $40. Now, if it was just a regular shadowless Squirtle, that would be not the best deal. But this was a red diamond repeating error. I'll show a picture on the screen here, and I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. I think I could probably sell this for like $120, $140, you know, just with the going market price for it. So I listed it, let it sit for a week or two. Nothing happened. I kind of want it to be a quicker flip, so I listed it as an auction. 7-day auction, listed at $79.99. One person bid after a couple days, and then one more person bid a couple minutes before the auction ended. I believe it sold for $81, and that's a lot less than it should have sold for, but that's why I kept saying I'm sympathetic to these sellers that kind of get less than they want because they're selling an auction, because they may just want money quickly or do a quick flip. So with that all said, I know I am very critical of sellers, but it can be difficult. I know that. I'm not a good seller. I'm very, very good at buying. Now, I can find the errors. I can find great deals. I can talk about one that I just found recently, but selling's a whole different game. So it's hard to see, like, what do you list a starting auction bid for? Do you list it really low and try to get a bunch of people to bid and build up some, you know, excitement? Or do you list it for what the lowest you would want to take, and then hopefully people just bid after that? I don't know. So I was happy it sold. My card sold for $81 again. So, you know, after fees and shipping, I probably made like $20, maybe 25. So definitely not what I wanted to, but happy to get a quick flip, and hopefully that card went to a good home. But yeah, so with all that, I am going to start talking about this card here. So we have another Evolution Box War Turtle. This is a Beckett 9. We have subgrades too. So we have 4 9s and a 9.5 for the surface. So this is a true 9, a very strong 9. And it sold for $127.50 in auction. Price charting has this card going for $400, but that's for a standard grade 9. That could be CGC, that could be PSA. Beckett's always thought to be the more valuable, and so and even with Beckett, they recognize this error. So I think this card could have sold for a lot more. But again, but then again, it's doing auction versus best accepted offer price. So hard to really tell. So the EVI for this is 236% because average grade 9 sells for $38. So I think, Evan Luschbach's War Turtle Raw has made the #1 spot before in this list. But the higher up you go in the grade, the lower the EVI is, but this is too dang low. So I'm still going to be critical. I'm going to sit behind my little camera here and keep talking and criticizing these sellers. But at the end of the day, I understand how hard it is, but I'm still going to be critical. Yeah. Alright, it's time for another segment of Put It in the Thumbnail. That's not the official name, but it might be. I think that's good. So what I do here is I pick interesting cards that I see, typically on Reddit, that are error cards that I think are eye-catching and would look great in the thumbnail, and I talk about them, and then I get more views. And because it's Christmas, I'm going to do this for 2 different cards. The first one here, we have what is called a Ghost Rare, texture only error. Now this one is a Leafeon alt art, and we've seen these pop up before. So these are from Crown Zenith, and it's thought that there are only 104 of these. This is what a Reddit user said, and I believe it. So basically 4 of each card, and these are expensive as hell. So I think we could almost compare these to the inverted stamp errors on the Pokemon movie cards, where the stamp is inverted, based just off the fact that there was only one uncut sheet that had this issue. So, there's a limited supply, and the fact that it's an alt art card, and also just the fact that it is so damn unique. It's incredible. It sounds like the value for this card, $1,000, maybe $1,200, if not more. Again, it always depends on if you can find the right buyer, but I think with how well known these errors are and just the limited supply, I think they definitely could go for that much. I reached out to the seller. They didn't have much more information for me, but just from what I'm seeing in the comments here, definitely, if you have someone who is a Leafeon fan, you definitely could see a higher price tag for this. This is just incredible. One thing I found interesting is we have not seen one of these sell on eBay. These are always kind of selling, you see them posted on Reddit, and then someone reaches out to them, so they're kind of privatized sales a little bit, which I think is kind of cool in a way, because it really does make sure that it's going to the right buyer, someone who's really actively trying to search for it and get it, and those people are getting it. So very unique card, and I put in the thumbnail, is this the most expensive card from the set? Most likely, just because, the error and everything, and just like it is somewhat of a repeating error. But is this one of the most expensive modern Pokemon cards ever? In the last 10 years, what errors have gone for more than this? So we haven't seen any of these graded yet, at least I haven't personally, but what would beat this? Especially just since this set is a year old, if that. Who's to say in 10, 20 years, is this just going to skyrocket like the inverted stamp errors did? But this is already starting at such a higher price tag. I think these could be known as some of the most expensive Pokemon cards we've seen from this modern era. So yes, I think I put this one in the thumbnail for sure, but let's talk about one other one. So this one is a really cool trainer card. This is a Japanese card, and I really don't know too much about who this character is. I'm not too familiar with modern cards, but this texture shift is legendary. This is so cool. You can see it basically looks like there is the evil copy of this character just right next to it. Sometimes texture shifts on these cards don't really stand out too much, but just with the positioning of this, it really is apparent right away just how cool this error is. One of the cooler ones. And I reached out to the owner of this card, and wonderful person gave me some more information on it. They pulled it themselves, and the internet did their thing and actually found another person with his exact same texture shift error, which could be thought to be from the same sheet then. These could have been neighbors on the uncut sheet, but they actually purchased a card too, so I'll put it up on the screen here. And so this person will have 2 examples of this texture shift, and I think that is just absolutely incredible. So I believe they said they're going to get it graded with CGC, so I'm excited to see what that grade is. But yes, this is hard to say price. I didn't see anyone offer anything for it, but I think just this is definitely one of the coolest errors I have ever seen, just with the placement and the type of card it is and everything. Just everything about it is just awesome. So yes, put that in the thumbnail. Get me some watch hours. Merry Christmas. Get back to the video. Alright, next up we have an PSA 10 Ancient Mew promo card. And this is the Nintendo error. This is a repeating error where the third N in Nintendo is missing on the bottom of the card. Very hard to see. This is almost useless for me to show the error versus non-error card, unless you're watching on a big screen and you're watching in 4K, which I upload in. But either way, I think it's interesting to track this because the PSA 10s range, you know, from 900 to like 13 or 1400 from what I've seen, so I always just like tracking the market price for this, and this one sold for $1,025. Next up we have a Meryl from EX Sandstorm, and this is the missing retreat cost error. You can see CGC recognized this, so this is a pristine 10. So perfect. Sold in Probstein auctions for $61. Now, price charting has this card in a CGC pristine 10 at $54, but the photo within CGC is actually the missing retreat cost error. So I think let's see, what was it? Bulbapedia has this basically that a third to a half of these cards were printed with a retreat cost of 0, or like the retreat cost is not there. So it's kind of a flip of a coin whether you get it or not. So really doesn't add much value, but this is one I hadn't seen before and just wanted to make it known to everyone watching this. But yeah, definitely not adding much value to this card. Alright, this next one's pretty incredible. Here we have a base set Clefairy with the red heart error. And this one is interesting because this is actually, so it's a repeating error. It's in the top middle of the card there, but it ranges in severity. Supposedly the most severe has a thick circle around the red heart there on this, would it be an ink dot or a printer hickey? But yeah, so this one doesn't look as severe as some of the other ones, but my goodness did sell so.
Try again.
But my goodness did sell for.
Try again.
But my goodness did it still sell for a lot. $707 for a CGC 6 Pokemon card. Look at that. Average non-error price for a grade 6 for this, $23.50. So that gives us a 2,909% EVI. That's good enough for number 9 this week. Now I want to say how impressive that is, that you have, you know, somewhat of a higher grade of a vintage Pokemon holo card with an EVI this high. That's pretty impressive. Next up we have a Krabby Air Pokemon fossil set. There is a section of the fossil logo missing. That's what the seller put. This is called the slash error, where there is missing ink on the portion of the fossil symbol there. Call it whatever you want. I think mine's a little bit more catchy. I think that's what other people call it, but again, call it what you want. And this Krabby sold for $60. Card has a decent bit of whitening, so this actually might be for what it should have sold for. You see, had some interest from some people. This sold in auction, sold for $60. They had 19 bids, so that's not bad actually. And again, condition of the card, I think probably could have went for more, but again, you know, this is auction. You know how I feel about this now and everything. So despite all that though, average non-error price is $1.17. So Krabby is, you know, most of the time you will see this fossil slash error in the top 10, if not, you know, the number 1 spot. But yeah, with this average non-error price being so low, that's why this EVI is so crazy. 5,028%. That's a lot, and that's number 3 this week. Next up, we have a non-holo Snorlax from Jungle Set, and this is the highlighter error. You see the white highlighter streak going through the P in power in the red there, just kind of in the bottom left of the art box, really. This is a cool repeating error, one I'm always looking for, and this one sold for $36 this week. All right, next up we have a couple cards with the square cut error. This is cool to see. You do not see vintage Wizards of the Coast Pokemon cards with square cut errors too often. And you can tell that you don't see those too often because of the price. $75 for a first edition Bellsprout from Jungle set. Average non-error price is $1.71. So yeah, that you can see this added quite a bit of value to this card. Very interesting. Not much more to say about it. Yeah, the cutting process happens in 2 stages, where the first one cuts out a square portion of the Pokemon card, and then the second step rounds the corners. So the rounding part missed half of the card here, and the card's in great shape. Boy, what was this, the 27, 28-year-old Pokemon card in this good a shape? That's awesome. So you can tell whoever got this card definitely knew what they had right away, and it's good to see it's in good condition. And so with the average non-error price of $1.71, we have an EVI of 4,286%. That's good enough for number 5 this week. And if you don't know, I put all of these cards together in Photoshop. No. If you don't know, I put all these cards together in Excel. I have a green background, and then I take screenshots of all of them, and then I put them in Photoshop, and then I select the green, and I take the green out. But because this seller has a green background on theirs, you can see that's why there's a little bit of green missing on both of these sides, because they kind of melded together with the other green. So that's why that's the case there, but I have found this is the most efficient use of my time to kind of put all these cards together for the graphics every week. Same seller, same error, same exact error. Looks like same condition of the card too. Same sale price. Different average non-error price. This one usually sells for $2.61, so that gives us a 2,774% EVI, and that's good enough for number 10 this week. Same issue with the green too. You can see it's kind of effed up around both photos of the error card. Now I thought this was kind of poetic. Look at this. So here we have another square cut error, exact same lined up, but this is with a modern card from 2021. This is an Aerocuda from Fusion Strike, and sold for 99 cents. Average non-error price is $1, so the EVI is negative 1%. This is really not that interesting, but I guess square cuts are always interesting, but it can show, this one shows how much more valuable the vintage ones are versus the modern ones. I know there's a decent bit of repeating errors and different errors from Wizards of the Coast set, but that quality they had back then, much better than the quality today. You can even just tell, just with the quality and the feel of the cards too. But yeah, definitely you don't see square cut errors too much, so I just thought this was a funny comparison. Next up, we have a Ghost Stamp Pikachu. This got graded a PSA 8. Ghost Stamp is where the 1 and the D are completely missing in the first edition stamp, and the rest of the letters are pretty darn grayed out, and a PSA 8 very high for this. And you can see this seller, I know they had some patience. This was probably listed for a while, and sold for $825. Sold for the exact price they listed it for, and that's higher than the market price. That's incredible. Congrats to the seller. You may have been listing this for 6 months to a year, maybe longer. It's hard to say. When you get a card this expensive, the buyer pool really goes down, and so that's why it will take a long time for it to sell. But yes, congrats to the seller on this one. This is incredible. I will have reached out to you by the time this got posted, so I hope you see this. Congrats to you, because that is really incredible. Very cool card. I hope it went to a good home, but yes, you as the seller did a fantastic job. Next up, we have a Hisuian Typhlosion V. Hisuian. I think that's right. And this is a wonky, skewed, twisted miscut. You can see this sometimes when it twists so much that actually the bottom right of the card is actually not either a perfect square or rounded off. It's kind of at an angle like that. So this is actually yeah, a little bit bigger than a standard Pokemon card. I think more real estate than a standard card, which is very interesting. It's very cool how that happens. Does this make it impossible to get graded then? Because which grading company is it? Beckett that does square cut cards, but this is actually bigger, so would they need a custom one to actually get this? So this may actually not fit in a slab at all. I don't know if it'll even fit in a top loader. Interesting, but yeah, very cool card, sold for $110. Average non-error price, $2. So the EVI goes pretty crazy at 5,410%, and that's actually good enough for number 2 this week. Wow. So next up we have a Shadowless Squirtle with that red diamond air. This is just like the one I talked about that I sold, but mine was graded. And this one sold for $40, and I'm bringing this up for a selfish reason because I found another Shadowless Squirtle with the red diamond air, and I got mine for $7, around $9 after shipping. And the card seems like it's in good shape. It's supposed to be delivered today. Unfortunately, I do not have it, but yes, very excited to get this card. So yeah, I'm kind of hijacking this one just to talk about my own card. Yeah, this is one, it seems like is missed by a lot of people because again, this is the second one I found now. So if you are ever error hunting, definitely look for the Shadowless Squirtle because this is one that for some reason people are unaware of. But yes, I got mine for $7. This one sold for $40. EVI 735%. But I got mine for $7. Okay, I guess I could talk about this too. I was scrolling through eBay the other day, and I see a stock photo of a card, and it is a first edition Squirtle, and it is listed for $5. So stock photo, not a good start to that, but it looks like the seller really doesn't know too much about Pokemon, and so I thought, you know what, $5, this could be a good gamble. Today, I just got the card in the mail. It had 2 pieces of cardboard around it, taped up, no sleeve or anything to protect the card whatsoever. It's like, oh god. I look at the card, look at this. It's in like perfect condition. I have not gotten the card graded myself. I might get this graded. I don't know. I think a grade 9 goes for like 190. You know, that could be skewed a little bit. But I got this for $5, and I was thinking about flipping it, but now just like kind of the fun story of how I got it, I might keep it. Again, not an error, but this might be the biggest value increase I've gotten for a card if I get this card graded and it comes back like a 9. That could be pretty cool. So I don't know. I will keep you guys updated on what I decide, but just wanted to share that your boy is the deal hunter, and that might be one of my crazier ones. So very happy with that. If you know anything about error cards, you know this one then. So here we have a base set Beedrill with the D.E Fending error. A very, very cool repeating error that sells for a lot of money. Under Poison Sting, the attack, you can see there is a period after the D. As I said, a repeating error, sells for a lot. This card's in great shape too. Was listed for $309 Canadian, sold for $285 Canadian, which is $199.14 USD. And wow, great card. Seriously, whoever bought this, get this graded. I want to talk about it again when it's graded. Yeah. And so with this high sale price, around $200, average non-error price is $3, which is a little bit higher for a non-holo card, but this is a non-holo rare from base set, so I get it. And with all that, the EVI is 6,538%, and that is number 1 this week. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching until the end here and you are not subscribed, hey, good for you. I mean, like, you must have commitment issues or something, but that's alright. I don't believe I'll be posting a video next week. I might be, I don't know. It won't be a standard video, but either way, if you celebrate the holidays, I really hope you have some great time with your family. Don't let them drive you nuts, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.